Barnyard, thank you for that resub. Spend more time recycling properly than seems reasonable. Totally derped and missed that. Sorry, dude. Yeah, if you really want to do it correctly, it's quite a headache. I started doing it correctly, and then my apartment complex locked the recycling center. And I don't know what to do about that. They didn't send out any message saying like, hey, it's closed, or hey, you need a special key, or anything like that. They just closed it. So, yeah. Alright. Grand finals time. Top right. He is ShowTimE. Bottom left. We have Clem. Now, ShowTimE, one of the few Protosses who has stood up against the great Terrans of this region. ShowTimE's one of the few Protosses who consistently stands up to the top 4 of this region a lot of the time. Not that we don't have a lot of great other Protosses, such as Harsum, or Geralt, or Skillis, or... who else gets, kind of up there? There's a lot of other Protosses that I'm just blanking on right now. But you get my point. There's a lot of other good Protosses, but ShowTimE still stands above the rest as being very consistent where he is, and occasionally showing, borderline perfect games. And I'm not trying to exaggerate because I like him as a player, but just that actually sometimes happens. I'll watch ShowTimE and be like, well, everything was just about damn perfect. Everything was correct. Holy shit. Unfortunately, I said this for a reason, that he's consistent where he is, because I'd love to be able to say that he's consistently a champion. He's not, unfortunately. If someone wanted to use ShowTimE as an example of a fantastic player who is not gotten championships, perhaps, suspiciously, none of the other Protosses have either, and maybe it's his race that's keeping him back. Well, you could try and make that argument, I suppose, if you want to be Protoss sympathizers. Whereas the other races of Europe, Serral and Raynor, representing the Zergs, breaking out of the European region to actually perform on the global stage and obviously dominate the European region while they're in it. And you have the Terran, at least one, Clem, starting to break out into that world stage. Here, Marine, kind of, sometimes, a little bit. ShowTimE, just always a little bit shy. Always a little bit shy. And it's, currently, I would say it's actually unexplainable. Like I said, you could be like, well, I don't know, man. Is it just a coincidence that he's Protoss and the guys aren't Protoss? I mean, alright, if you want to go that direction. You will be combated by the numerous amount of people on Reddit who point out that Protoss is now the majority of GM. Which it's like someone pointed that out, and suddenly its ammo is in every Terran whiner's pockets. It seemed like a hold on here. Switch has been flipped. I almost said the swap had been flopped, but that would not have been correct. But you still would have gotten my meaning. Anyhow. But I always, ShowTimE is the guy that can actually tackle the big 3, as we've been calling them in the European region. Doesn't always beat them, though. Last time, I think he actually got pretty close, and still, ShowTimE being a Protoss able to actually beat Marine in the Open Cup weekly in a best of 5 is actually already noteworthy, because even though Marine's not the invincible Marine that he was in the middle parts of 2020, he is still fucking good at that matchup, in the Open Cup especially. So ShowTimE, it's one of the guys who can do it. Sometimes he does it. Sometimes he takes the championship against Clem. These guys have met in the finals a few times. And I do believe it always goes Clem's way, or most of the time it goes Clem's way. Kind of expecting that again here. But ShowTimE is ready. He's in the, I guess, PvT mental state. He's all warmed up for it. And it's not like these two haven't played each other numerous times before. I'm talking a decent bit about ShowTimE because I do see him as more of the underdog, the guy I expect to lose. Talk about Clem for a hot second. 3cc, bit of a greedy, different opener. I don't think ShowTime's been able to see that quite yet. Oh wow, he did actually. He totally did. What do you see that with? A sentry? Yeah, okay, but a sentry for hallucination. Well, that's very fortunate for ShowTimE, who's able to accommodate the 3cc a little bit better. Double forward as opposed to single forward is already a big difference that you might not have strived for if you didn't know for a fact it was a 3rd CC. Double forward used to be the go-to with blink and charge. And then Protosses kind of agreed to scale back a little bit. But with the 3rd CC, it just makes a lot of sense to also grab that double forge. And we need a certain number of stalkers to just kind of scout and probe. You don't need to overbuild them until the Terran is actually ready to go. Which will be soon. Tom's gonna have a very powerful economy and a decent amount of units. Yeah, Clem, he's been showing up against every race recently. Getting into the round of 8 for I Am Katowice is no small feat. Even though he did unfortunately fall to a Protoss by the name of Zest. Zest is a very unique Protoss player. Even when you try to mimic his playstyle, you never really can, because his playstyle sometimes honestly doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I don't think ShowTimE is going to be as lethal as Zest here. And that might be what you need to actually defeat Clem. I don't know. ShowTimE is really properly set up for this macro game. That's the good news. And that seems to be ShowTimE's always good news, that he gets set up very, very well. His scouting's on point, his positioning's usually on point. And then something just kind of cracks. We'll see if that happens here. Already losing a couple of stalkers to some AI. But they do get home. A couple of force fields help to buy another round of warp-ins, which is pretty darn important. The Terran army just jumped on top of this because ShowTimE wasn't paying attention. It could be dead already. Oh, Immortal gets its shield taken out, but thankfully the shield battery exists, and the Immortal has taken no hull damage because of it. It was a good attempt at focus firing it down, and maybe if Marauder Slow had been done, it would have actually died. But Marauder Slow only halfway. Very fast upgrade, but one that you get when you've got the other one already done. It's the last thing you get. Storm is on the way. I brought this up in the Mana series where I'm like, if you're desperate and you're a professional, Storm's not going to get you anywhere. You know? If you're in Gold League, Storm will actually win you games where you're 60 supply down. 100%. That'll happen. But if you're even and you're pros and you're evenly matched, then it can be something that works as a support. You know? Well, it's supposed to be, really. With your Blink Stalkers and your Charge Lots. But it can still be very difficult to utilize in the early stages. Only having those storms against someone like Clem sometimes isn't really that impressive. But it's not really the storms that are helping out right here, is it? It's kind of adding to my point. Right now, it's just ShowTimE having a correct split of units. Enough charge lots to protect the stalkers, and Immortal to help punch through the Marauder count on both left and right sides. And now that Clem has combined forces, ShowTimE is right behind him, combining his own forces with a Guardian Shield. A couple of deadly force fields looking to be planted down. If he can get them. Can't get them. Reinforcements come in here from Clem, who, by the way, has a very good army supply, but that's because the storms have yet to come into effect. Storms are supposed to help bridge 20-30 supply right here. They weaken the units, then the Immortal gets up to the face of the Marauder and punches them, or the Zealots actually get a decent, swipe in before they die. That's what the storms are leading up to. They're not going to actually get the kills themselves. ShowTime's also been very good about ferrying the storms around, which certainly adds to their potential. Clem has a lot of Widow Mines here. That's a bit scary. Fortunately, taken care of about as well as you would expect. Observer, just shy of being in that scan, is very helpful. Oh, just kidding. Oh, it's gonna live. It's gonna live. Rebuilding an Observer doesn't take that long, and it's not that expensive. But it is really annoying to have to replace it and make sure you have one with your army at all times. So, kind of a nice thing to have that save. This Widow Mine's gonna pop off something big. Lots of damage on the Zealots. Templars are looking for a juicy kill, but they can only go so far away from their army. You know, they are supports. They're not something that's supposed to get the kills themselves. Especially against a Clem who is gonna dodge, he's gonna split. He's also gonna focus fire that Warp Prism down if you give him a chance. 2-2 is almost, actually, both on the way fairly even times. There goes the Warp Prism, like I was saying. Just a little bit late on pulling that back, and boom, the Marines take that down with the help of the Ghost as well. Storm on the left side actually helps to weaken a lot of this little force. The shield battery overcharge, keeping that Immortal alive for just a little while longer. The other two Immortals coming in here are actually going to be pretty big, as there's nothing but Marauders left over, and this should be cleaned up. But that's also the main base under attack. Some Stalkers already going down. A recall force to be used. +2 weapons finishes, as well as +2 armor for the Protoss. So still even on the upgrades. Unfortunately, no Stalkers left over to chase down these Medivacs. A Storm actually going to try a second Storm, weakening both the Marauders and the Medivacs. Maybe the Stalkers could chase these down now, but they're not in position. No Warpins available. ShowTimE, I think he took too much damage. Look how weak. Oh my god. Imagine another Storm. All 5 Medivacs, like 6 more Marauders die. That would be so helpful for the supply right now. But it's not happened. Those Medivacs fly home, possibly to be repaired. This is not even the original force. This is reinforcements that are going to take on High Templars without Storm, going to take on Immortals without support, and this shall be Clem's first victory. It's not like it was the easiest victory ever, but Clem just needs to consolidate and attack, and his supply is almost double that of ShowTime's. He also has his own 4 bases. He is actually repairing those Medivacs. I love that. 5th base is now on the way, already starting up his +3 weapons. ShowTimE has to pick and choose a little bit more as where he put his resources. 2 Colossus just popped out, and he does invest into 3-3. That is very expensive, although they've been... It was like back in like 2014 they got cheapened or something like that. Still, very expensive when you consider that that might be 2 Disruptors he could build right now. And I'm actually kind of surprised he doesn't go for the Disruptors. He kind of needs a Hail Mary, and Zealots aren't really a Hail Mary. Not usually anyways. Woodamites pop off on them anyways. Liberators come forward, and there's not enough Stalkers to really take them down, especially in the position that Clem has put them in. The Concave is pretty damn sick. We still have SCVs repairing these Medivacs, collapsing in on whatever ShowTimE has left over, making this an easy fight. And ShowTimE now has to tap out. There you go, Clem with the first victory. Maybe if the War Prism hadn't been gunned down. Maybe. 3 more Storms. You don't lose as many Stalkers. They can chase down the Medivacs in the main a bit better. I mean, maybe. But it just seems like Storm is an extremely difficult thing to use against Terrans nowadays. It was always the case that the pros were better against Storm than the plebs. It's always the case in anything, but like especially so with Storms. The professionals not only could split better, they also could macro better, so they were getting SCVs to afford triple Marauder production. So the Marauders would live through 1 or 2 Storms even. But it got even worse over the last, I would say, 2 years. So we had ShowTimE versus Hero Marine in 2019 Montreal, if you guys remember that one. That was a super sick back and forth, and it really seemed like this was going to be what PvT looked like for the next couple of years. It wasn't, by the way. It was actually shortly after that we had the proxy phase. Was it that one? Oh no, it was the all-in phase. That's what it was. Yeah, the all-in phase, like 2 base tank pushes and stuff. And then we kind of got rid of that, and we found ourselves again at some pretty sick PvTs, but one where Storms like feel like they're never used. People don't get them as openers as often, and people don't even bother getting them in super macro games. Protoss will bank 3,000, 3,000, 6 bases, 14 gateways, and be like, I don't, Storm's not gonna help me here. And it's hard to disagree with them. When you look at the results, when you look at what the EMP shockwave has done to make it so much easier for the Terrans, that's what was supposedly supposed to be the biggest change. Is that the Terrans didn't have to proxy as much or all in as much because the EMP shockwave came in, made EMPs easier to get, made the mid game a little bit easier to get to. think that's when we had Showtime versus Human Marine. Someone needs to keep like a timeline of metas. It's really hard to keep track just on their own. Thank you, Similix, for the 30-month resub. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna use someone else's. Oh, did Woody not get in here? Rotterdam's looking at someone else too. Since we don't have too much going on in the early game, just a wall off on Death Aura for the Reaper to not get up for Showtime. Clem just going for a reactor here. Oh, I already don't like this. Never mind. Just kidding. Stop it. Oh yeah, going for a reactor. Doesn't even go for a Reaper. Huh. Yeah, 1 second, guys. All right. What was I talking about? Ah, yes, the reactor. Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, oh, that'd be a lot of gas, and then I noticed he didn't have a second gas. So it's just right into a third CC. You know, last game he went for a very fast third CC as well, and the first attack didn't really seem to be that showy. It was like, it was, you know, kind of normal, whatever. But then it was the amount of supply you could throw in after that first attack that seemed to really show you what your 3cc unpunished can do. Showtime did scout it last game, and he will be scouting it this game. He once again went for a Sentry after the Adept. Very macro, very safe in that it can scout and tell you what to get or what not to get. So he'll have all the information again, and I gotta assume that he just won't be going for Storm again. He had the information last game, so the Storm was not something that he's like, oh, clearly shouldn't have done that because that was bad against the build. No, he knew what the build was. But I think just the way that Clem is able to handle it and clobber him, that's why you wouldn't go for a fast Storm build again. So the other option is to go for, again, double upgrades with Charge Blink, and then actually do a Swapperoo into Colossus after an extended period of being on double upgraded Zealot Blink, Zealot Stalker, or to go right into the Colossus and then into, again, eventually Colossus. No, directly into Colossus and then upgrades. There we go. That's what I was going for. He's gonna go for a 4-gate. Alrighty then. Okay. Well, that is the punish option. I was thinking of the macro option, the response option, because that's what Showtime tried last game. Went to double forge, chroned out those probes, tried to get good technology, good upgrades. Still got outmatched by Clem and his 3cc. Now, Showtime's gonna go for the punish option and gonna try and cut him off the knees. Him in the kneecaps. That's the weak part, alright? Will it work? I don't know. I don't know. It just might. Clem is going for an extremely greedy version of this. No tanks. A lot of bio, though. That's kind of the tricky thing sometimes. The tank's seen as the ultimate defender against Blinkstalkers. And it does help. Not only does its shot help, but also the way that you can position the tank with its range can be extremely helpful. But if you can hold on long enough, your bio count will also be kind of insane in this instance. So that's what we're looking for right now. Warp Prism actually sets up in the main. It's going to warp in 4 more Stalkers just right in the face of Clem. Clem forced to pull SCVs to help repair his starport. He really doesn't want to lose that, but that is going to go down here. He went at least one medevac, preparing to save his stim, which will finish up, and he's going to have to go for it, I think, right here, right now. Guardian Shield, though, activated. He's a little bit too scary. He's going to wait it out. Widow Mines have popped, but one's going to be targeted down. The other one also going to be targeted down. There's the stim on top of the Stalkers, but my goodness, that is a lot of Stalkers. Guardian Shield is finally taken out as well, but the bio count, not as impressive, right? He didn't buy any extra time. Showtime is going to have to retreat. These last few Marauders really kicking in strong with the help of 21 SCV deaths. That protected them long enough to start culling the Stalker numbers, but I don't think that was good enough. I don't know. ShowTime not committing, full into this. I mean, he's still warping in 4 stalkers at a time, but at least he is grabbing a 3rd Nexus and a robotics bay. The factory goes down, reducing Clem to just his simple barracks technology, which is the worst thing about this. If Clem had been able to buy 30 more seconds, somehow, some way, who knows, I don't know, kill the warp prism, I guess, whatever. This is maybe even an easy hold. He's probably swapped his starport over, he's got 2 medevacs that he's able to actually save and then use. His bio count is increased by, 8 more Marines, 3 more Marauders. Like, it's such a big difference. But hitting at the time that ShowTime did, he's able to find the bio army a little bit weak just before it was with Stim. And even with Stim, it still wasn't the numbers that Clem was really hoping to have, nor was it protected by medevacs, which are a really important part about having bio. Clem is on 3cc, so the loss of 20 SCVs, 20 plus SCVs isn't, game over time, but it's pretty close to it. Even Marauder's getting picked off here as he's forced to split his units, not quite knowing where ShowTime is going to engage. A lot of very weak Marauders. He's finally going to push this all the way back and just hold on to this little high ground that Death Aurora has. But the Observer is really obnoxious. It shows what's weak, it shows where the army is. And in fact, ShowTime is going to take the fight. He saw a lot of weak Marauders, but Clem was prepared to micro, so he saves 2 of them. And we are talking about every Marauder counting at this point. 2 more Marauders are such a big difference when you're facing especially unupgraded Stalkers. Medevacs are also an absolutely huge deal, and unfortunately that is going to go down. Scan is now available, so he finally takes care of that pesky Observer. And that's going to give a little more doubt to ShowTime, right? He doesn't have the Warp Prism, he doesn't have the Observer, he can't reinforce, and he can't know exactly where his opponent is at all times. This Observer, it kind of sees a little bit, but the circumstances have definitely changed. Clem has managed to get his 3rd up and running, gets another Observer kill as well, so really putting ShowTime in the dark. And because he was able to build up a starport in the natural while his factory went down, he's not really as late to the technologies I thought he was going to be. Finally, adding on combat shields and Marauder slow means that Clem now has a fighting army. Not just a defending one, but something that's actually kind of scary if it goes across the map, which it's looking to do. It's got 1-1 as well. ShowTime had to delay his 3rd Nexus, he had to delay his upgrade, and he has to delay his technology to do what he did. And now he's making up for that, but he still needs a little bit more time to really have that fully rounded out Protoss army. It's missing a lot of its upgrades. It's certainly a big enough army, though. The Protoss army is coming back to deal with the triple drop into the main. I don't think Clem was expecting too much from this. He's going to grab a pylon, which depowers 4 gateways, and then just kite away, hopefully grab some Stalkers, or hopefully the Stalkers don't grab him. Okay. And delay a 4th Nexus, just a little bit. Clem actually has a pretty decent army supply. And it's pretty darn good. It's mostly Marauders. And it has that 1-1. It's found out by a probe. Once again, delaying that 4th Nexus. Oh, Clem not paying attention. Something's happening in his natural. Does go for the quick pickup, but the blink is there to take the medevac down. Yeah, the medevac. Yep. Being distracted by the Warp Prism, not medevac. Being distracted by the Warp Prism was kind of big there. It's kind of big. Having those 2 fighting forces on the left and right side was going to be really scary, even if ShowTime knew about them. Is going to be scary. And now with the killing of the 2nd attack, ShowTime is only defending one thing, and that's really easy to do in StarCraft. That was pretty big. Warp Prism gets 10 SCVs, causes the death of many more units, and is still alive to continue harassing. But the harassment doesn't stop for Clem. He goes back into the main, picks up, leaves. The Stalker count never quite in position, and really not that intimidating either. Scans being used to check how the army's responding is probably the best thing he can do. If the army's over here, it's not attacking him. So the scans are worth it for 2 reasons, really. 1, to ensure that his medevacs don't die, and 2, to ensure that he is still the one applying the pressure. And there's no suddenly abrupt base race about to happen, which would really throw a wrench into both of their plans, honestly. I don't think ShowTime wants to go a base race either, but just in case. Medivac's flying to the main with a Stalker count, again, was not that impressive, so the 4 of them have to, backtrack with the blink backwards. Zealots are warped in, and they're going to help take care of this, but it's a lot of Marauders, it's a lot of Medivacs, and a lot more Marauders off to the right side, actually finding the Colossus, despite the shield battery overcharge, finding a lot of Stalkers as well. Clem actually commanding this game at this point. I don't think he was super far behind from the Blink Stalker attack. Losing the SCVs, but having 3 CC and then actually fitting in that starport in the natural. Clever boy. Actually put him in it was kind of an even game. Even supply. And then ShowTimE actually was down on upgrades. He's ahead on upgrades now, but he was down on upgrades. Kind of made maybe even was like, okay, if Clem can find openings, he can definitely be the victor of this game. Maybe it's even, but let's see if he can find any holes. And he did. I mean, it took a while. It took a long time. And he almost got messed up himself thanks to that Warp Prism, which apparently has been cleaned up by now. But he has found a couple of holes. He has weakened ShowTimE. It's still pretty darn even, though. 4 bases to 4. Clem, 20 army supply up and now down in upgrades as ShowTimE works on his 3-2, although that is going to be stalled out. That pylon, unfortunately, powering +3, +2, +3 attack. I can totally tell colors, guys. Don't worry about it. Oh, Disruptor! Oh my god! Ooh, Disruptor getting a pretty good shot. Clem, if he wasn't Clem, probably loses a lot more there. Probably does. So ShowTimE not only having the superior upgrades, but also adding in some very important technology there. If you're only on Colossus, it's a bit easy for a guy like Clem to kind of size up the engagement, size up how you're going to reposition. When Disruptors get added into the mix, Clem's still going to be able to dodge and weave out of their Disruptor shots, but that dodge and weave in is all the time that his army's not attacking, which actually kind of messes up how you engage, how you drop on things, how you drop into bases, how you attack when someone isn't looking. It really changes things up. It is only 1 Disruptor. It's already shot as well, so the Zealot's going to be kited back. Colossus trying to help out, but there's only so much they can do when they're crab walkers. Actually, ShowTime's letting this kind of... he's letting it happen. He wants to take this engagement like this, but that was a lot of Zealots to lose. Realizing there must be an attack somewhere else, though, Zealots warped in on the left side. Actually, could be covered by a shield battery. There we go. And a drop in the natural, again, finally being cleaned up with the help of the cannon. So the 2 upgrades will continue on. Warp Prism, I guess it was skirting out of the bottom right and successfully does so with the help of Warp Prism speed, which I think just finished in the robotics bay. Just finished. Now the Bio Army's a little bit trapped. Disruptor looking for a shot. Finds its poor little Zealot buddy. Oh no. But does help in pushing that attack away. Clem forced to entirely retreat, loses a Medivac. Needs to find a really safe place to actually unload, which, was not this one. ShowTimE looked like maybe he's going to go after it, but is thinking more about the other avenues of attack. Unfortunately for ShowTimE, so much time, it's repetitive, has been put into kind of emergency mode. There's a lot of reactions going down here, a lot of trying to match where Clem is and what he's doing. So not a whole lot of time to just calmly build 6 observers and then put them on the map, right? So he was pretty blind. He was kind of guessing that Clem was going to move to the left, move to the right, drop to the right, drop to the left. And he was mostly on point. But it does mean he has to be kind of careful about chasing or careful about pushing. This push is going to be met with the full might of Clem's army. Those hallucinations revealed it. So everything comes down to this. 2-2 is almost done for Clem. ShowTimE barely on 3-2. Just 13 seconds? 20 seconds? It's probably not going to be about the upgrades, though. It's about the EMPs versus the Disruptors. Lots of Vikings in the air, too. Both with very scary armies, trying to control the best of the ability. It's a bit awkward for both sides. I think it's more awkward for Clem. He's got to go up a ramp into the high ground, into Disruptors. I mean, good luck with that. 1 Disruptor, not going to hit anything. If ShowTimE, goes down this ramp, then he could be the one potentially surrounded. But if he holds this ramp, then what is he really getting? He's finally going to take the engagement. Vikings are taking down the Colossus. Before the Colossus is really getting any shots off, some EMPs finally go down. Disruptors are dodged out, and the Colossus will not quite all go down. It's a very weak single Colossus left over, but it's not really about the Colossus right now. It's about the Disruptors. And about the Liberators, they finally join on the fray too. Clem does have a planetary on that 4th base, so ShowTime's gonna have to walk past. That might be really awkward. He's gonna go for the kill, actually. SCV's a little late to repairing, now have the full repair, and not gonna be able to repair it fast enough, but giving some time for the Liberators to siege up. Disruptor does get one shot, but not too much more than that. How many more Disruptors are actually left over? One more at the very least, forcing that split away, but that's a lot of bio left over, and it might be too much for ShowTime. He's down to just the Stalkers. The Disruptors are out of shots. There's no more Colossus left over. The Zealots are actually trapped behind the Stalkers so damn awkwardly, and the Disruptors actually on the front line. They were revealed and the Stalkers blinked back. The Warp Prism goes down, and that is the last Disruptor shot. It's going to be enough for now to help ShowTime retreat, but he lost a lot of very expensive, slow-building units there, and I don't think he was... he is on 2 Robo, but he's just not building from both of them, which I think he really needs to be doing. He's now prioritizing reinforcing with that humongous gas bank that he has, so 4 Archons coming in, could be plenty more after that as soon as he's got the gateways. A mostly Archon army, though, is kind of a scary thing to be at. Clem should have been reinforcing with a couple of ghosts, and he indeed was. 2 already out, 3 more on the way. Archons are scary until the person has, like, 4+ ghosts, and then Archons kind of turn into nothing, honestly. If the ghosts hit their EMPs, which it looks like they weren't doing a great job of initially because Enhanced Shockwave's only just finished. 1 Disruptor out and it's lonesome is going to be sniped by Clem, who did pay attention just in the nick of time. A couple of EMPs did go down on a couple of the Archons, but I don't see any more EMPs. The Archons actually doing their job, providing that buffer. Disruptor number 2, it actually gets a little bit. Number 3, not going to find too much, and that is only 2 Disruptors left over. They're constantly getting picked off. The supplies are even, and ShowTime is on quite a hefty economy, but so is Clem. He rebuilt his 4th base, turning into a planetary again, and has been on a 5th this entire time as well, and a hefty number of SCVs too. He's got +2 coming along for his Liberators, which are sieged up in a really nice position supporting this bio army. They are taken out by the Stalkers, but the EMP hits a lot of the Disruptors, a lot of the Archons, and yeah, 1 Disruptor gets killed, the second one doesn't get a shot, and that is a mostly Stalker-based Protoss army against a bio army of the Terran. Not usually where you want to be at. Where are the Zealots? Where's the Disruptors? Where's the Colossus? Finally, 2 more are being made as 2 more Disruptors come in to save the day, and Clem will not be finding as much headway off this 5th base as I thought he would. When I saw mostly Stalkers left over, I was like, I don't know about that one. But ShowTime is going to hold his Robo units coming in at the nick of time every single time, and his gas bank providing at least an easy reinforcement. It's not, as I was saying, that it's not the best necessarily. Those EMPs will just demolish the Archons, right? But if you got 1,500 gas, it's better to use it. It's now gone, however, and he needs to be careful with how he uses his gas in the future. As he absolutely is going to need not just more robotics units, Disruptors and Colossus, but he's also realizing that the Liberators will become a problem. Either you're taking on Liberators by distracting the Terran a lot and forcing them to reposition, or you're taking them on by going up to your own carriers or Tempests. 7 SCVs went down as he finally has some harassment coming out from ShowTime. I guess he hasn't really had an opportunity to use the Warp Prism in a while. Yeah, he hasn't rebuilt it in a while. He hasn't had time to. So not a whole lot of harassment from the Protoss, but finally some DTs coming in here. At least stopping some extra bases, hopefully, from getting up. But a Liberator plus missile turret's actually a pretty nice defense here for an orbital. It is an orbital, though. That is a weak point for sure. Not a whole lot of scouting on the map for Clem either. They're actually going to bypass each other in the night. ShowTime doesn't realize where Clem's army is either, but ShowTime has recall. Now, Recall's only going to be able to recall a portion of this army, so he's got to be careful about how he does it. But at this point, you got to realize that army's somewhere where you're not, and there it is, killing your 5th base, your 6th base. 1 DT at a time could be obnoxious. You just don't really notice it as a Terran player when things get like this, which is awfully hectic. We got ourselves a base race. 5th base goes down, 4th base goes down once again. SCV is going down and Probe's going down. Who has Disruptors? Who has Liberators? So far, both of them with not much defending either one of their bases. The Disruptors are going to be killed before they can actually pop, and there's no Liberators. There's only 1 Liberator here defending the ramp. That could easily be taken out. There's a lot of Stalkers left over, and they got some decent upgrades. I'm surprised Clem doesn't go up to the production in the main base. He's actually going to go take out the economy. I guess he's going to take out the economy and then try and come back and meet the army, and that's I don't know how this game is going to go, guys. Upgrades are pretty darn even, but it's all about Disruptors and Liberators, it feels like, when it comes down to these types of engagements. Type of games. Like, does a Disruptor hit? Okay, doesn't matter what upgrades you have. Or Liberators siege up in proper positions. All right, might not matter what upgrades you have. Although it is only 2 Liberators, it's really not that intimidating. They do have +2, but ooh, the Disruptor not getting that shot off. EMP's going down on the Archons as well. This Disruptor apparently was shot, but he doesn't realize that ShowTime Might be trying to set up more of an angle with that one. Looks like he doesn't need it on the front lines anyways. Cannons and shield batteries and overcharge, oh my. ShowTimE is going to defend with about half of his army, where the other half of the army has been finding the economy of Clem. Clem is now going to be down to... That is his only orbital. That is the last command center that Clem has. Uh-oh. 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 Okay, a mule is dropped. Now, he doesn't need scans necessarily. He's got EMPs, but that's, you know... You kind of want both. Clem's army is about to be surrounded. He actually tackles the army on the left side, scans for the DTs. Now the right side army of ShowTimE comes in, but it's a little bit late. The Disruptor's not going to get their shots off, and the Colossus totally alone. Clem is actually going to be able to win this fight. He's now up 20 supply. He still has his command center. He still has plenty of buildings to float around should he have to. And he might, ShowTimE, don't forget, actually survive this base race with most of his technology, most of his production, and a pretty damn good economy as well. At least one full base mining, although this Liberator is trying to do its best against it. Hot diggity damn. This game, though, some reinforcements being found out. It's not what you want when it's a base race and you're at 0 minerals. Clem is just not mining. Oh man, Clem takes a fight, but he needs to actually kill the production, but also not lose his own. I don't know. I mean, I thought it kind of looked sketchy for Clem when he couldn't kill his opponent's production. But then, you know, the hope of a really good engagement was still alive, and he did take a good engagement, but now we're kind of back to like, well, there's so many more things to stamp out here for the Terran. The Protoss, I mean, yeah, you know, Terran buildings fly, blah, 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 but there's less places that I think the Terran is going to be able to safely produce compared to what ShowTimE can do. Because his main is still active, he just needs pylons around the map. A couple of EMPs going down, making this fight again a lot easier for Clem, and actually Clem is going to take another fight in dominating fashion. You know, I guess ShowTimE, he might have had gateway production, but he didn't have robo production. Those were on the front lines. Those were killed. If he has a couple of Colossus here helping these units, this would be a very different story. But he lost them. And now he's taking a couple of fights a bit awkwardly with just gateway units against Bio-Medevac. Okay, all right. Well, that is something to consider. I kind of just assumed that a Protoss army is going to come up again like a Protoss army, you know, Stalkers, Zealots, a couple of Colossus, but it's just gateway units, and that's not good enough for ShowTimE. One DT at a time is the plan. ShowTimE might have had one base mining, but it was only one base too, and his bank is gone. To hell with his production. He has no bank. He has no army. Clem is going to win this down to one orbital. One DT trying to make it work here. There's no EMPs. Apparently there's no scans. Okay, this one DT is a true hero. My goodness, another DT warped in. Stalkers trying to take what they can get. Another Marauder is going to fall. No, not quite. Just kidding. The Stalkers are all going to get taken down. But Blink is done for the DTs. He grabs a couple more units. The EMP is still not available. But that is a timer right there. Marauder actually gets killed with a DT swipe. We're talking about DTs versus Marauders being picked up in Medevacs. Are you fucking kidding? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. The DT going right for that base. He knows where it is. One scan is available. Clem knows the DT knows where it is. And is going to try and intercept it. The scan's ready. The DT is going to be killed. At least it grabs a Marauder and it gets away from the scan. Are you kidding? Oh my god. DT Blink on hero. Oh my god. Oh, and a couple more DTs have been warped in. He's using his very last few minerals and gas because he's actually running out on this base, guys. He's long distance mining with the probes he has, oversaturating. The DTs are going to do it, aren't they? Holy shit. The DTs might end up doing it. One EMP used on one DT. Another one on another DT. You know, he finally has the energy back on the Ghost, but he's down to his last EMP before he has to wait again. Ooh, trying to juke. Ooh, trying to juke. He's gonna get the kill, but the other scan, the other DT is gonna get a Marauder. Oh, Clem has the GG. Oh my goodness. ShowTimE does it. ShowTimE wins game 2. My goodness. Oh my god. What a game. Whew. Haven't seen one of those games in a while. It's been like a year. Imagine if he had more EMPs, though. I feel like if you have, like, 5 ghosts, maybe you can... Well, I don't know how many ghosts you need for, like, infinite EMPs. That was pretty ridiculous, guys. That was ridiculous. Eh. I had to double check to make sure ShowTimE did win that one. Yeah, that was only game 2, and now it's evened up. We're in the lobby for game 3. Just waiting for Clem to ready out. I'm gonna go get some water. That was sick. Oh no, I put water in my lemonade cup. Now it just tastes vaguely lemony. Okay, it's all tied up after that amazing game 2. In the top left is the red Protoss. He is ShowTimE. In the bottom right is the blue Terran. We have Clem. He has eBay turret, maybe. The problem with trying to just sit and defend for Clem is that he just never is going to match what ShowTimE can do. Clem had, you know, what, like 6 SCVs, if that, and a couple of mules. Well, no mules, actually, because he had a scan. Compared to ShowTimE, who had, something like 25 probes plus. If he had just sat and defended, he's making, like, either Marines, the cheapest thing he can make, but also not really the best thing, or waiting to build Marauders. Whereas ShowTimE is like, oh, you're doing that? Alright. I'll just make sure to build a better army. Whoa, what a game. So that game started off with ShowTimE mixing things up, going aggressive against a 3cc build. He did find a lot of damage with it. But enough to kill a 3cc player? Apparently not. Clem had rebuilt a starport before his factory died and was, you know, on 3cc, so rebuilding SCVs wasn't really a problem for him. And then had plenty of units to work with. Plenty of bio, enough medevacs to push and pull ShowTimE And it kept on evening out. At one point it looked like Clem was doing it. At one point it looked like ShowTimE was fine. Eventually just not enough things covering the middle on Death Aura, which can happen. Death Aura's got the windiness to it, that if you break the rocks, that wind in the middle suddenly is just something you don't really scout much anymore. And you both go through your right, left rocks, whatever. Base races can't occur, and that happened. They were so limited on their vision. They both were trying to be aggressive, really, to get vision and to get control. Clem was the one doing it for longer, but ShowTimE was like, you know what, I think I can do it now. I think I got this, and, well... maybe you can kind of say ShowTimE was the cause of that base race. It's kind of disingenuous to say that. At some point, the Protoss is going to break out against the Terran, bopping and moving throughout all of his bases. He's gonna go, fuck you. He's gonna attack. And at some point, the Terran is expected to be a little more of the, okay, you come to me, let me get my Concave, let me get my Vikings, let me get my EMPs. And instead of that happening, they ran past each other. There were a couple of mistakes in that game that I was surprised at seeing. You know, Clem actually got some pretty late enhanced shockwaves. I wonder if that would have changed up some of those engagements prior to the base race. Eh. Oh well, not as important, not as important. ShowTimE opens up with a Stargate here on Romana side. The Reaper is going to get the scout in there and see a Phoenix building, and that's a legit Phoenix, but maybe... no, he's going to go to Phoenix, yeah. No quick Twilight Council for behind this, so I thought maybe it'd just be kind of a fake, because it was an Oracle first, and I don't believe that Oracle was seen. The Oracle's going to come in, get a revelation. Very safe play. Confirm that it's a 1/1/1 with Widow Mine drop. And now Clem's like, I don't think I want a Widow Mine drop anymore. He actually only got the one Phoenix. So no very quick Twilight Council, because he's actually getting a fairly quick third Nexus. That's 4 minutes, sub 4 minute Nexus, and getting his gases. So then going into Phoenix. There we go. All right. He's getting some greed here. I mean, he's got plenty of vision. Notably, though, this time Clem is not going for a third CC. So that's it's always a little bit scary when you push off any upgrades. It is going to be Phoenix Charge as well, with all 4 gases. Maybe quick into Archons too. I think so. Probably what, Charge +1 armor, couple of Archons, and then try and push back this first push, and then into Colossus. Well, that could just work. That could very well bop the push and have a pretty nasty counterattack as well. How to be careful against these charge first builds. I mean, it's not really charge first because it was Phoenix first, but the idea being that charge can be both a very impressive spell and also kind of a lame one. You don't expect charge, you siege up tanks, well, charge lots are overpowered. You kind of expect the charge lots, you micro, you have a bunch of Widow Mines. Yeah, chargers aren't that great. They're there, they help, but they're not super convincing. So, you know, the style can have a bit of a power spike. If the Terran's like, oh, what? Hold on here. And they're forced to scramble back home, then charge lots can work out really well. Accompanied by the Phoenix, they can chase down retreating Terran armies. But if Clem figures this out, and is like, oh, okay, so you're sacrificing some long-term research here and exchanging it for a bit of a power spike right now. I'm just gonna chillax. I'm just gonna chillax, bro. I'm just gonna do anything. It kind of makes it a bit awkward for the Protoss. I see a lot of Zealots with that Hellion. He hasn't really gotten to see very much more, you know, he hasn't seen the double gases, he hasn't seen the main. I mean, I'd say usually you would see a Colossus there, so maybe Clem has figured this out. By the way, I was totally right about this build. I just want to throw that out there. It's just that now ShowTimE has to move on. There is no attack. Clem He's very cautious. He scouted first and did not just say, oh, I have a Terran army. Let me go attack. And now ShowTimE has to move on. So that's kind of the sometimes awkward thing that can happen here. Is that now you're on an army that isn't necessarily getting better. Charge lot kind of stay the same. I mean, upgrades obviously help charge lots, but EMPs are now something that devastates both of your units in your army, your Archons and your Zealots, and the EMPs are going to be coming in sooner rather than later. They're not attacking you with just bio. They'll be coming in with more Widow Mines, maybe eventually some Ghosts, and then your army is going to collapse against that if you're not careful. Even the Phoenix kind of getting countered by the EMPs, right? They'll take out Medivacs, but not much more if they don't have the Graviton Beam.
Twitch Prime sub received.
Oh, Scan finally sees a little more of the army, and it is again just charge lots and an Archon. Disruptor is coming out ASAP. Kind of needs it. I think Clem's has to be careful about this, but he does have the choke on his side. The Widow Mines are all planted. ShowTimE, yeah, his army's just a little bit... It's a little bit worse if it's going to be kited, you know? If it gets a big wraparound, then the Zealots are fine, but that's not going to happen against Clem. So ShowTimE is the one trying to hold on, get through the Disruptors. Clem's the one able to bully him. Gotta be very careful with how you use the Disruptor shots as well. Using them on the Widow Mines is definitely not a bad idea. But then the second one I think you gotta be very careful with. It's not exactly an army that a Terran could pounce on. You know, a bunch of charge lots. You don't really want to run into charge lots, but I want to be careful to have some ammo in case they do try. And Clem just checked over for a 4th base, which is not yet there. Whoops! A little bit of a last-minute split. Loses a single Marauder. Last Widow Mine's going to be taken out by a Phoenix, but there are more reinforcing. This one going to get a pretty nasty shot on those Zealots. Still no Ghost Academy from Clem. I actually thought that he was going to kind of supercharge up to it, but he's totally secure in his Widow Mine bio play, which is just something I will never be, so... I would have been like, Ghosts! Ghosts! Please look at Ghosts! And I do think he still would like to have Ghosts, but actually holding on for a while. Getting a 4th CC, 2-2. Start up for both players around the same exact time, actually. And now Clem is going to try and dual prong. Another good Widow Mine hit on top of those Zealots. 4th Nexus canceled by the other half of the Clem army. Thank you, Nola Bimp, for the 3 months. Big drop headed off to that natural. There's only a handful of Phoenix left, so it's not really the most dangerous thing ever. But it is Romanicide, where 3-base setup is pretty safe, so a very quick reaction for the Protoss army means that 1 Medivac will go down, perhaps even 2 of them. The Phoenix is actually not being controlled, will die, as ShowTimE has the main base to worry about now, and there's not a whole lot in the main base, actually. The Zealots getting warped in are not going to be enough, and this Bio army is going to collapse in on top of those Stalkers. Where is the rest of ShowTime's army? This is actually getting kind of awkward. +2 is going to get focus fire down. ShowTimE, I know you have more army somewhere. He was so hesitant to pull it back into that main base because he figured probably there was another attack somewhere. And that made it more awkward than perhaps it should be. I mean, that drop was in there for like a good 20 seconds, and it did end up getting that +2 attack canceled, killed. Now ShowTimE only working on the +2 armor. Two Disruptors gets some Widow Mines, some bio. Wasn't a bad use of them, especially because now he has a few more Disruptors to actually work with. Clem is going to be microing on both sides, though, so you can't just really let your Zealots run after things. Disruptors used to clear minefields. As long as you have other Disruptor shots left over, it's not bad play. Once the Widow Mines are gone, the Zealots do become a little bit more intimidating. But as long as the Terran's also microing, then the Zealots are always going to be a little... Clem's on 4 bases, going up to 5, by the way, and actually still not bothering with a Ghost Academy. I just, I really thought they would have gone for him. Maybe they betrayed him last game, and he's like, Ghosts are terrible, I hate them. Just going straight into Liberators, which is not a bad plan. I mean, I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. I am just personally surprised. I thought Ghost Academy was going to be one of the first things he got. Instead, we got a Fusion Core, we got Liberator production, we got +1 ship weapons, and then we have a Ghost Academy. I guess, you know, I've been harking on the Ghost for a while because it was, oh my goodness! Oh god! Okay, good shot finally going down for ShowTimE. Because it was a Charge Lot Archon army for a while, but it's actually much more of a Charge Lot Stalker Disruptor army now. It's not like the Ghosts are going to obliterate everything that we see, but they do still help. Ghosts always help. Disruptors aplenty. It seems like we got both sides actually having 4, so a total of 8 is a very healthy count of Disruptors. Clem trying his best to focus fire them down, though. Almost gets 1. Very, very weak one. Oh, okay, that Disruptor shot gets a couple of Marauders, but ooh. Overcharge has to be used. Disruptor's starting to bulk up a little bit, which is providing more opportunities for Clem to actually dig into the third base or even back into the main base. But oh, speaking of the main base, Warp Prism finally in use. We got more Zealots being warped in, just more havoc. I think hopefully is what ShowTime's thinking of. He's gonna pick up and leave, realizing he's not gonna get too much more here, but then runs into a missile turret and Winter Mine! Oh, that Warp Prism was actually so helpful. Disruptors are looking for the shots and they're not gonna find it. And Clem, yeah, he could just jump on top of that. Easy jump on top of that, just unload. I mean, unload the rest of your stuff. There we go. And he's also been microing against this left side attack. ShowTime is down to 140 supply and doesn't look to be getting into any better position. That Warp Prism was so important. It was something that could maybe provide a distraction so that Clem could get the hell off of ShowTime's back. And now it doesn't exist anymore. Clem can focus entirely on his attack while expanding, while continuing to upgrade. ShowTime finally pushes back this right side, but not even in a particularly good way. He's lost a bunch of Stalkers. He's lost over half of his Disruptors. And Clem is just swimming in money right now. He has so much army to throw away. Doesn't even really need the Liberators. The Liberators are going to be a much easier way to kill a guy with Disruptors, but Clem doesn't even really need them. He's fine. Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. Ooh, we got ourselves a 10 medevac drop headed into the main base. The Observer is mere seconds late. This Observer sees it, but I think it's gonna be too late. That is the entire army headed into the main with Liberators to cover it. I don't see how ShowTime breaks this. I don't think he does. There's no way he breaks this. Unless he gets an amazing Disruptor shot, which he does not. 2 of them really don't get a whole lot. 3rd one, not going to get very much. 4th one, not going to get very much. Just running into the Liberation circles with no more Disruptor shots left. The Archons just taking the full brunt of the Bio and the Liberators. And that is GG. Clem takes the 2-1 lead. No. Zealot into Disruptor seems like an odd progression. I'm pretty sure what happened in that game. ShowTime could speak better on it, but I'm pretty sure it was like I was saying, where ShowTime was hoping to build an army that would squash the 2-base attack from the Terran, and then he could either counterattack or reap all the rewards by getting to do whatever the hell he wanted. And instead, Clem was able to figure out that it wasn't a Colossus build. It was a Charge Lot Archon thing, and one of the things you can do is just not attack into it. So the Protoss is like, oh shit, alright, well, these aren't particularly good units as time goes on. Kind of need to find my opponent being over-eager or out in the open or something, and Clem's not doing that. So alright, what do I do next? You could go into Colossus, which would, you know, still be fine. I don't actually see a problem with Colossus initially. But since Clem is like, he's not taking any damage because he didn't do anything to each other. He's on 3 bases. He has all of his army because he didn't attack you. It'd be very easy for him to afford double starport. I think the Disruptors were even kind of, I don't know if desperate's the right word, but hoping for a bit more of the shock factor, perhaps. The shock he didn't get from the Zealot Archon, maybe he was hoping to find in the Disruptors, but either way, yeah, I think you put yourself in an awkward position when you commit to that style, and the Terran just is like, alright, it doesn't do anything. think that's kind of where things got weird for ShowTimE, and he did a good enough job trying to battle himself out of it. Disruptors weren't a terrible idea. They were pushing off most of the attacks and scaring Clem away, but then it just became really difficult when Clem started to multitask. Disruptors are difficult to use, and charge lots are not difficult to use as in they have a high skill cap, because they don't. But they are difficult to use in that they are easy to... They die very easily. They go roar and they chase after something they shouldn't, and they die. So you're not only controlling disruptors, which are difficult to control, you're also controlling the zealots, so you're not bleeding off hundreds of minerals every time they engage into you. And you have no way of punishing someone who's doing that multitasking, because you don't have Blink, you don't have that many Phoenix, you don't have any of your own map presence. They've totally just, like, forced you to turtle. Yeah. It's not the game plan that ShowTimE wanted. But I do think that was a thinking game for the first half, and then a mechanics game after that. On the top left, down one, he is ShowTimE. We're on Light Shade. On the bottom right, we have Liquid Clem. I wish I knew how to not attack. I mean, it's ingrained in a lot of Terrans that as soon as you have stim and medivacs, go, 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 go. Because, you know, as simple as I make it sound for the Terran, because I'm kind of speaking from like the Protoss perspective, and whenever you speak from a certain race's perspective, you always kind of make it sound like it's so much more easy for the other guy. But to swap it around for a hot second, yeah, for the Terran, it's very difficult for them to, you know, kind of scout what's happening there. I actually thought that Clem didn't scout it. You know, he saw like the edge of a couple of not charge lots actually, they were just zealots. But there was a lot of them, so I guess that was suspicious enough. And then not much else. Not much else. No gases, no straight up technology scout, like... Anyways, so the Terran, you gotta figure that out. And as soon as you figure out that they're doing that charge, that Archon thing, what it feels like for the Terran is that you're like, oh, okay, I shouldn't attack. And you sit back and you build up your ghost, like I was saying. But not if you're Clem, apparently. You build up your ghost, you build up your army, and then you're like, okay, well now I can move out, right? And then Protosses in our pleb league, because we are bad, have like 6 bases, 80 probes, DTs, High Templars of Storm, and Colossus, and you're like, what the fuck? This is some bullshit. I didn't attack, like that's the right thing to do. I didn't attack, and I'm rewarded with some Protoss bullshit. And that's why Dream's PVT and I Am Katowice was also so impressive versus SOS. His ability to read into that game was so impressive because every Terran makes the mistake of attacking when they shouldn't and not attacking when they should. Even in the pro leagues. And it seems simple to the observer, but just think about any game you play as these two races. You're always doing the wrong thing, it seems like. Actually, Hero Marine did an analysis video on that particular PVT if you guys want to see it. I didn't listen to all of it, but I think he went over some of the key points that I did as well, obviously in greater detail and with more experience. But that's why I was so impressed with Dream. And that's why I'm impressed with Clem, who I think a year and a half ago would absolutely be the hot-headed attack. Oh shit, I lost the strategy game. He's not now. Finally get some action. It is a triple base setup for ShowTimE as he moves into just Blink. A very proper setup. 3 gases, mass gateways, Zest style, if you will. He's been the one using it forever, and it seems synonymous with Zest. He uses it all the time, and he doesn't stop using it. And Clem is going for the Wood of Mine drop. Nothing fancy from him, no 3rd CC, just right into the additional barracks, similar to last game, if not exactly like last game. Okay, that one of mine only gets 1 probe. This one only gonna get 1 as well. Please stop that sentry. Excuse me, sir, ma'am. Oh, what am I one drops in the main, too. It's a bit surprising. ShowTimE loses 6 probes, well, 4 additional ones, and a stalker. A little bit of a trick, so not exactly like he did last game. Clem added in a second drop. Warp Prism coming out. I don't see this being for an attack, although... Hold on. No. No. So the Warp Prism might just be used to just kind of like threaten Clem. As soon as he moves out, the Warp Prism moves in, right? You can't explain it type thing. I don't think he's actually attacking. His charge is only halfway done. This is the Terran's time to attack. That wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, okay. But then the other thing I was kind of like, oh, wait a second, is that he got +1 attack, not armor. Which, with this style, you would usually see armor. Interesting. So yeah, the Warp Prism goes in. It doesn't really have a lot of potential outside of the 4 Zealots, as you're kind of pressed for units back at home. It's actually some of the least amount of charge outs I've seen. It's, I guess, one of those things where if the guy's gonna micro so damn well against you, charge outs do become... They seemingly more and more useless. 2 probes go down, but 6 SCVs have gone down. Oh my god! Oh no! What am I betrayed? Oh my god! Oh my god, 14 SCVs go down. I'm actually surprised it registered. I thought it was going to be nothing but friendly fire kills. I don't even with that. The Zealots did so much damage. Back on the +1 thing. Stalkers are, you know, they're brittle. They're not very powerful in terms of their, what's the word I'm looking for? Their ability to stay around for a long time. There's a word for that, but now I've forgotten it. The one of mine is too surprising for me. They don't last a long time if they're alone against bio, right? We've seen that happen, but if they are defensively used, if they're kind of covered by shield batteries, force fields, maybe a couple of extra units, then they're going to be a lot more microable and a lot better against someone who's going to micro against your Zealots all damn day long. So I can kind of actually see why you would go for +1 attack and mostly Stalkers to begin with. Interesting. This is actually really nice for ShowTimE. Yeah, he loses the Warp Prism, which was kind of awkwardly coming back, but... Oh, I thought he was going to get more Marauders. It still was a nice opportunity for ShowTimE. There's like 5 Marauders I thought were going to die as they were on the wrong side of town. But oh well. Oh well. And Sentry is sus? Yeah, very sus. Honestly, this game... I mean, I'm at... Oh, wait a minute, now I'm confused. Does the sidebar count friendly fire kills, but then the worker kill tab doesn't? Did I always know that and I forgot, or is this something I've never ever thought about? I thought both didn't count friendly fire kills, which is why I was confused, but apparently this one doesn't. Alright, well, anyways. Oh, another Warp Prism looking to be sniped. This time ShowTimE a little bit too fast. Ooh, those would have mine's reached. Now ShowTimE is gonna have to add on some technology soon. He does have a Templar Archives for some Archons, but that's kind of it. He's either, I mean, I'll get into it in a second. Much more important, we have the engagement. ShowTimE needs to do some pretty significant damage with this, which he might. A couple of force fields could change it. Oh, the Warp Prism gets sniped again! Ah! Clem, every time. The littlest bit of an overreach by that Warp Prism, and boom, there it goes. Resiliency? I might be what I was looking for Stalkers. Oh, a very aggressive blink forward. Grabs one of the medivacs. The charge lot numbers are starting to get thinned out, though, so ShowTimE really needs to consider leaving. He's now doing so, but it's not only the Zealots that are going to be tagged. It might be the Archons. It might be the Immortals as well. More Zealots have been warped in. But they are going to get slaughtered very, very quickly. The upgrades are easy, but that is just a very powerful bioforce with plenty of medivacs. Amazing stutter staff. Everything's so, like, closely condensed, using chokes against the Zealots. Dangerous time for ShowTimE. So what I was going to mention for ShowTimE is that, like, he might have some Archons. That's not really what we count as like, that much of a better army. I was talking more like even Storm, because there aren't any EMPs. Storm could actually be extremely helpful. In fact, Storm could have been extremely helpful last game, but it was one of those conundrums where, like, you do expect the Terran to get EMPs, and they didn't. Well, the Storms could actually help out here, too. A couple of Force Loads come down to help out the Zealots. Do have an overcharge if necessary. ShowTime's also pushing away this side of the attack, which actually isn't very big, so he's going to push that away entirely. Yeah, if ShowTime either had to do some significant damage right here, which he didn't, or he had to buy more time to actually grab a 4th base, because that's what I was worried about. He had no 4th base, he had no advanced technology on the way. That's what I was going to be saying I was worried about, but the game has continued on. He now has his 4th base up and running with probes, and he does have Storm. Now, that's not the most consistent thing if your opponent gets EMPs, but we don't have Ghosts. This might be the time for Storms to shine. But the War Prism, I think, needs to be added in as well, and those things have been getting sniped left and right. High Templar is awfully slow beast here as the Marauders once again just focus fire down the Zealots, focus fire down the Archons, kite for the last breath into a Wood Mine. And now finally have to actually retreat, or just kidding. Clem never fully retreats. He just temporarily disengages. A +2 armor finishing for ShowTime is actually a pretty big deal. It finished a little while ago. Zealots are now a lot more durable. This Warp Prism barely alive, but finally one that hasn't been sniped. Warps in another big round of Zealots, but these will be cleaned up fairly quickly. Not exactly the most worth when it comes to, what, 800, 900 minerals there. But okay, took a very long time to clean up. It did trade out with some SCVs and a decent amount of bio, and the Warp Prism lives, which is always that pain. Pain in the butt for Terrans. Oh, Clem's ahead 30 army supply and is found in a completely defenseless base, pretty much. Storm wasn't ready on that High Templar, had 69 energy, very nice. The shield battery does try to charge up the Nexus, but oof, oh my god, the War Prism! Jesus Christ, stop with the War Prisms. Now that one was lucky. That Wood Mine just had a sight set on the War Prism kill, and it got it, but that is the 3rd War Prism that has died. It's kind of expensive. It's like 550. It's like 775 or something. Pretty sure I did the math wrong, but whatever. It's almost 800 minerals. EMPs are finally involved. Funnily enough, without any storms actually appearing, but he saw the High Templars, you know, still being High Templars. And you also just generally want EMPs. One pretty good storm, weakens up a lot of Marauders. He's gonna need another one though, and I just don't see any. Oh, there's one more. Any more? Any more? Doesn't seem that way. Chardo's coming in from the left side, however, a bit of a surprise. There's the High Templars. I was wondering where they were. They're maybe even gonna go for feedbacks if they could. I think the storm's a little bit juicier though. ShowTime pushes in the middle of Lightshade. Clem's gonna use that choke against the charge lots and then, ooh, run away from the splash. The EMPs are here to deal with the storm and the Archon count that has grown quite a bit, but the Colossus is also here, hopefully being controlled. Okay. Whew. I thought that was gonna walk headfirst into a bio army. Yeah, now that the EMPs are out, the Colossus are out, and that's actually kind of the exact thing you want to have happen as a Protoss player, is to hit them with one technology, they respond to that technology, and the other technology actually pops up and surprises them again. Not a whole lot of EMPs left over. I think they already popped the Immortal Shields, though. They can't really do too much against the Colossus, and they didn't capture all of the storms. So Clem forced to disengage. He is on 4 bases with a 5th finishing, turning into a planetary. ShowTime again adding on even more splash. So you got storms, you got Colossus, now going into disruptors. I think the High Templars will eventually kind of be phased out here. There's a lot of things to control in this Protoss army when you start adding in disruptors. I actually can't... If ShowTime also micros this War Prism with storms, I would be truly impressed. I think it can, but I'd still be impressed. That's a lot of EMPs now. Oh, the War Prism, the War Prism, the War Prism! Okay, EMPs going down, blanketing the entire Protoss army. There are so many there. The Archons, though, lasting just long enough to support the Immortals, let the Colossus get their shots. Oh, that Wood Mine. Oh, so many weak Protoss units. Another banger of a TvP, though. But yeah, I was I don't know. I do think that he can micro those warp prisms, but it's so difficult to do it in general, but especially if you're also trying to like keep a separate hotkey for your disruptors and your blink stalkers. And then you're also tabbing between your sentries and typically like your storms, right? But if they're in the warp prism, then it's not a tab issue, it's a hotkey issue. So, like I said, I think you just kind of give up on it after a while because storms aren't really a necessary part of Protoss breakfast anyways. It's like they're good to have occasionally. Oh, some snipes going down, getting rid of the last ones. But you don't actually want them. It's not their staple diet. Some ghosts going down, but the EMP is still, again, blanketing the Protoss army. Every Archon down to just its health, which is not very much. Disruptor gets hit, the Observer gets taken out, and uh-oh. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. ShowTimE might have just made a huge mistake right there. He thought the amount of ghosts that were vulnerable was a little too tempting, I think is what happened. He's gonna lose a lot of his, all of his Colossus, a lot of his army. The Immortals also being taken down. The sentries without energy aren't really very helpful right now, and that engagement just sealed the deal, it looks like. Clem is on 5 bases, working on extra command centers. He's got plenty of production. As long as he doesn't take a disruptor shot to the face, ShowTimE is going to be struggling to rebuild that army. I mean, he could give it, if you give him 30 seconds, he probably could. ShowTimE is on like 5, almost 6 bases himself. But I don't know if Clem's gonna give him that long. Drop into the main. Mostly Marines. A Zealot Warpin could actually clean that up, but it looks like the Zealot Warpins can't come in. They're used here offensively on the low ground. Stalkers come forward. Disruptors actually on the 4th base do get a couple of juicy hits, really helping to bridge the supply gap. But ShowTimE still down by 30. Disruptor number 5, number 6, looking for the good shot. Arrow, she didn't find it. Didn't find it. He overshot just by a little bit. And now it's just the Disruptors. Only a couple of Zealots added in here. No more Immortals, no more Sentries to try and support. All about the Disruptors actually getting those emergency shots, which I just don't think they're going to get. They also don't have the shots right now anyways. 2 finally get launched and don't find anything. All down to the Disruptors is not a very safe place for the Protoss to be. Needs to start adding in other unit types, which he will be able to do. He's actually bought those seconds I was talking about. He can use a couple of Warpins. He can maybe go back into a different type of Robo production into Colossus or even Immortals would be helpful. Oh, another Disruptor gets taken out. ShowTimE was trying to find the army and just totally misread where it was going. This Disruptor already shot, but at least it's gonna live. Just Zealots and Stalkers. Disruptors maybe gonna get the shots off. Clem is forced to retreat entirely away, but now he's got the concave. This is where Disruptors look really quite lame. Oh my goodness. One does get a good shot, but the other ones are out of ammo. And the Marauder's gonna hunt those down. Easy peasy. Zealots being warped in to try and save the last Disruptor. He's our last hope. Oh my goodness. Oh my god, the return! The Disruptor was the last hope, but then the return of the High Templars is exactly like... It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars, you guys. Those storms were actually pretty sick and totally a surprise, but still weren't enough to actually kill any of the army. It's forcing a lot of healing, but the good news is Clem has been reducing those medevacs. If he did lose them, he's replaced them. If they're low on energy, he's got plenty more. I don't see snipes on Zealots very often. Still enough energy to EMP most of the Stalkers. More Zealots coming in. There are 3 Disruptors as well. But now Liberators have entered into the fray. Freedom is not exactly what ShowTimE wants to have to deal with right now. He does not want to be freedomed. No thank you. Only 2 Liberators isn't so bad right now, and they don't even have any upgrades, so they really weren't too bad. But that is just a sign of things to come. It could mean they're going to have +2 any second. It could mean they're going to be 6 of them any second. ShowTimE has been on 3-3 for a little while. So that has been helping his army actually live in some of these engagements. But Clem also about to be on 3-3 in just 30 seconds. So we could have ourselves another pseudo base race. But it's one where ShowTimE starts off 30 supply down. But here we go. Once again, the base race. Clem has a decent chunk of units already prepared, and he is building 4 Liberators, so this is already looking so good for Clem. Not nearly as close as it was in that previous game, Game 2. Disruptors are recalled as he realized he was going to be surrounded, but only 2 of them end up living. There's nothing here to actually help. There's no Dark Shrine. The Disruptors are not going to get the beautiful hits. Clem is going to, I'm pretty sure, going to slam dunk this game. Might not look like it right now, as the supplies are still even, but there's no way that ShowTimE gets on top of the production. He's going to struggle to actually kill planetaries very quickly. He might not even have a Warp Prism. He just has it rallied, it looks like. It could have been helpful. It's going to die now. Disruptors, 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 disruptors! Nah, it's Clem who notices first. He's trying to build up some storms, but storms injure, they don't kill. He needs kills. Well, this planetary is gonna get taken down. Like I was saying, just it takes a little while. And speed is kind of important right now. Okay, Liberator's getting mismicroed. Whoops-a-daisy. As Clem also micros his way into the face of about 2 dozen Zealots. The rest of the Protoss army actually coming in as well. Clem, ooh, barely able to retreat through that midpoint. But still almost surrounded. My goodness, Clem actually is up against so many Zealots. How many fucking Zealots do he have? 33 Zealots! Alright, I underestimated how many Zealots he had. But they are just Zealots! And now that the full might of the Terran army is here, the Zealots can be microed against. First storm does hit pretty juicy. Oh, that third storm was very, very good. The storm that never was for the first 22 minutes of the game finally gets a good one. Scan to see how desperate the Protoss is on economy. It's actually not that desperate. That is still mining. It's not much, but there's mining going on the bottom left too. Fully saturated here. Plenty of probes moving over to this one. I mean, Clem is also on a lot of bases still, but he's gonna lose another planetary. He kind of needs that one. Storm's looking to be dropped out. Liberators. Very scary. They don't have +2 though. Not as scary as they could be. One gets sniped. Ooh, ShowTimE. Might not have been able to break the production like he did in Game 2, but had so much more army. I mean, it's really a lot of quantity right now for ShowTimE. The bodies that he has is impressive in number. It's a lot of Zealots. But he needs those storms to accompany them, and he needs maybe some luck as well when it comes to positioning. They both are affording reproduction. We got more Marauders and Marines. We got at least one more Disruptor on the production tab. Not because ShowTimE's out of money, just out of supply. A storm on top of the Liberators and Medivacs actually isn't too terrible of an idea. There's a blink in, actually, and the Liberators, not all of them were sieged. Now they are. The last storm has been used. No, one more was actually available. Not still enough. No, not enough, not enough. Close to it, though. A lot of those Medivacs were very, very low. Bit of a Zealot run by, gonna try and take care of the production now, but not really going that way. Clem had just barely enough to defend. It looks like Liberators have actually sieged up the bases and forced the mining to cease. They're not dead, they just moved. Oh god, yeah, there they are. No Disruptors, no Storms that I can see. One Liberator siege up is instantly taken down. Here comes at least one Storm, perhaps. Widowmines are burrowing again as Clem just kites and kites and kites, but oh, the heart of the army gets stormed. Some juicy storms coming in when it matters most. The Medivacs, they're not quite out of healing yet. They are very, very injured. Good blink forward to take out that one Ghost as well. Clem can't really afford the Ghost. He can't actually get that much gas mining. The top right base never took gas. Ooh, this is much closer than I thought it was going to be. ShowTimE seems to be winning these engagements, but he's out of splash damage now. Widowmines are sieged up. Clem needs to get back to microing, and he is indeed. He's actually being very conservative about his stims. Actually, that is impressive right there from Clem. Talk about it in a second. The orbital unfortunately goes down. Now he's going to sim on top of the army. There's nothing but stalkers left over. Actually, one Disruptor shot's not going to find anything at all as the Warp Prism is forced to unsiege and try and carry what it can back with the stalkers. It does save an Archon and Disruptor. Okay, all right. One of the extra orbitals again moving over. That was the extra orbital from up here. There was an even extra one beyond that. So Clem does have some mining left over. Just not a whole lot of gas mining. But what I wanted to highlight right there was that Clem was purposefully not stimming. He was trying to hold position and just move his army inches away from the Storms or the Disruptors or whatever it was, right? So he wasn't taxing his Medivacs as much as he has been because they are out of juice at this point and they're also very weak and he can't really replace them. That is honestly with how action-packed this game is, that amount of thinking happening in this game is really impressive. Most Terrans would be stimming every which way in a panic. But Clem actually realizing one of his problems and trying to fix it as well as he possibly can. But there are some really good storms there. The concave is very good for the bio, but the storms are so damn juicy. The disruptor's even getting a couple of hits. His last, oh no, he actually ran back into it. Oh. It looks like we had some pretty nasty probe deaths, though. I don't know if it was a Liberators or maybe a Widow Mine somewhere. Oh, it was the base, wasn't it? It was the base that died. But that still means that ShowTimE has 2 bases kind of healthily mining. Clem does too, though. Clem actually is still on, well, 1, 2, 3, kind of even mining, isn't it? We can check out the graph, actually. I haven't been able to bring that up. Things have calmed down, though, thankfully. Okay, so ShowTimE has been winning, and that's what I was gonna guess. But maybe not as much as I thought. That's still a lot, actually, but it's getting closer. Now that Clem has his orbital back down. It's gotten closer again. Clem just needs to make sure that he has the ability to make, medevacs and ghosts. Well, maybe not even ghosts. Maybe he doesn't really care for him. He made one to get sniped, and he was like, you know what? Never mind. I'm done. Just units that can stim, please. And with how mobile this game is, with how mobile this game is, that actually makes a lot of sense. The ghosts, I mean, they're speedy, but they don't have stim. Their stutter step is also like really awkwardly timed with the rest of the bio. All right. Clem does not want to lose access to his main base. Gonna come in from the right side. Disruptors are on the left, so they're gonna actually be very late to this party. Only 3 of them as well, something that he can actually track. Marines almost taking down 1 disruptor on their lonesome. That would be impressive. Disruptor gonna be taking care of. What am I? Not quite. Barely didn't reach it. ShowTimE is actually trapped in Clem's natural. How did we come here? What happened? How did they end up like this? It was only a kiss. What happened? ShowTimE has to be careful. There is an army building in the main. I mean, can a surround actually happen here? I don't know. ShowTimE finally commits to attacking the army on the front lines. Or in front of him, I guess is the way you would put it. War Prism finally goes down. No more High Templars being ferried. A lot of Zealots dying. Trying to charge up against Bio. A Planetary is there to help hold, and actually ShowTimE is still going to go for it? I don't know with that Planetary, man. Ooh, good split from Clem. He's going to be able to take down 1 of the Disruptors. No, not quite. 3 Disruptors still alive. Ooh, the splits. Oh, not good enough. Big chunk of Bio dies. Clem, though, still has a good army supply, but his extra command center does get taken down. And the rest of his army is trying to come forward. The rest of his medevacs, most importantly, have come forward. A lot of healing to be done now as the Stalkers try to focus fire down the Marauders. That was awfully bold from ShowTimE. He's really overstaying his welcome. Okay. He was going to try and come from behind. That's why he did it. That's why he did it again. The storms, the surprise storms. There's so many of them as well. The Disruptor's going to try and take out what it can. The second Disruptor also trying, but not going to find as much as those storms did. Oh, so many units, so damn low. If Clem had not rebuilt those medevacs and actually had energy on them, this could be a very different story. The Disruptors are finally taken out, and ShowTimE's back down to just Zealots and Stalkers. So many High Templars. He had been baking so much gas. Holy shit. It's gonna be like 6 storms. On top of the 4 he already threw out. That's why he took the fight, by the way. I was way underestimating. Oh my goodness, I was tunnel vision so hard, and now my mouse is freaking out. I was tunnel vision so hard, but he was trying to keep the army there. He's actually trying to body block the bio so the storms could hit. And that is just the type of thing that I would never have thought of if I was the player, and clearly something I didn't even think of if I'm the caster and I could see literally everything on the map. Zealot taking care of a couple of the last SCVs that Clem has. I mean, Clem actually still has 32. That's not bad. Not all of them are mining. The Planetary was great for the defense that it gave, but is not really so great for mining anymore. This one also is about to be mined out, and you can't lift Planetaries, can you? Oh, the medevac with the ghost. Oh, I fucking love that. Oh my goodness, he made ghosts again. And he got the EMP as well. Somewhere along the line, a lot of... Wait, High Templars died? Or they morphed in the Archons? Yeah, okay. Phew, I was like, that was a lot of High Templars. So, 6 of them morphed from the Archons. 2 of them were left over. And then Clem EMP'd them with a medevac micro. Absolutely sick. More Zealots coming in to try and harass this base. It is the last mining base of Clem, but This time Clem's actually around, so bit of a waste, 300, 400 minerals, but now ShowTimE knows maybe the main's open. He's super hesitant to get himself trapped into that natural again. His army's, I mean, it's not very impressive. And he can no longer depend on just storms to help him. They have to be a surprise at this point because the EMPs are back out. Well, EMP? There are 3 ghosts there. Yeah, EMPs, plural, are back out, back on the menu. ShowTimE has been mining out of these 2 bases for a very long time. Unfortunately, they're starting to mine out. Both of them need another base. But especially ShowTimE, he's the one that's still lower on the overall supply. Oh, the EMP, the EMP. Oh, the feedback, oh, the EMP. Oh, he gets the EMP. Oh, but there are more High Templars. ShowTimE is no fool. He's got High Templars on High Templars on High Templars. And Disruptors as well. I mean, even just one Disruptor to try and make sure, right, that the army actually runs away. Ooh, it can be critical. Second Disruptor joining in. More High Templars warped in. Clem. Only mining as much gas as he needs to build like a ghost and a medevac at a time. Observer right here is very annoying, but it's not worth a scan. It's not worth an EMP. Well, I think it would be worth a scan, actually. I think it definitely worth a scan, but not the EMP. Problem is, he's only down to 1 or no, he's got 2 orbitals. He does scan it. Okay, I think that is very helpful, actually. Loses 2 Marauders and a Ghost to a Disruptor. Not the trade that he wants. Apparently, there's some Widow Mines that have still been stashed around, giving ShowTimE a headache, and he's starting to clean those up. One of the Disruptors is going to be Focus Fire down. Not quite. Last minute splits. Oh, the Disruptor's so low. Oh my god, he wants it so bad. He wants it. Oh, he gets it. Another Storm trying to stop it from happening. That Storm actually getting the tail end of the army. Clem at 97 armor supply to 81. Some snipes going down on a bunch of Zealots, actually. He's trying to use energy for kills. Was that the right call, though? He still had an EMP, but not for the War Prism. Not for the War Prism, High Templars. So many weak units. A third Storm came down. The War Prism does get sniped, but the Marauders in the front line are so damn low. Clem, he's got more army somewhere. He's trying to bring it forward now. His army took a lot of damage from the Storm, but here come the reinforcements. A good split away from the Disruptor now makes it a very vulnerable Disruptor indeed. Another Storm's going to try and stop it from dying, but it doesn't actually stop it. More Storms are prepared. So many more Storms are prepared, actually. And Clem, oh my goodness. Oh, so many red units. Oh my god. You can only scan periodically, right? Like if this was a you know, everyone has a base and a half, 2, 3 bases, whatever. This is the type of game where like there are scans going down every which fucking direction. Like are there backup High Templars? Are there surprise High Templars? Are there random Disruptors? But when you're trying to have this very low econ situation and win that out, you're not scanning. You want to mule more. But the scans are absolutely necessary. You got to get a good size up of what your opponent has. For ShowTime's sake, with losing that the Observer, he doesn't actually have much vision either, and he doesn't have the ability to scan, so he is also a bit in the dark. It's a very difficult game for both parties, and I dare say that the scans are actually one of the most important factors in this game right now. Another Observer is finally here, because I guess also personal cloaking could be a problem. Not that it's been a problem, but it's been researched. I guess Clem knows that there's no other bases that can be taken. I mean, this one could have been, I suppose, retaken, but it wouldn't be worth it, so it's not like he has to care about that base. This one could have been retaken and actually been somewhat worth it, but he knows it's not there with the Widow Mine, and there's no other bases. You know, he took one of the last bases available in Lightshade, and he's not only going to mine it and afford to rebuild, he's also going to mine it. So ShowTimE never could, even if ShowTimE were to suddenly win one of these engagements. The Dark Shrine's been done for a while, and we do finally have a couple of DTs, literally just one DT. A big Zealot run by to ensure that this is no longer mining. I think that's okay for Clem, though. He can lift that and just focus on mining this, and I think he'd still be all right. Ooh, Disruptor. He's thinking about the shot. Ah! Hot pickup on the Marauder that dies anyways, plus storms, plus feedbacks. The Medevacs had some time to chill. Now they have too much energy, which I guess is also a problem. They can't have too much energy, and they also can't have no energy. Widowmine's gonna get a second shot on the Zealots. Every unit counts, man. These two, shit, they're so much more evenly matched than I thought it was going to be today. Another DT. Oh, he gets the DT. Oh, no. Oh, okay, get it. Sorry, I'm anti-DT. Then he gets the Observer. Good EMP on the Archons and the Zealots. Another EMP as well. Those Archons are actually just... They don't have health. They don't. If they don't have shields, they do not have health. Archons literally have 10 health. SCVs could take them down after being EMP'd like that. They don't do shit. So you always gotta back away from that. The shield batteries are pretty crucial here. High Templar is still 6 of them with plenty of Storm. Or feedbacks, again, could be important. One more medevac goes down. Storm's looking for a Clem that's not paying attention. Clem is paying attention. He's just, again, trying not to stim too much. Just wants to kind of walk away from things if he can. I feel like Clem might have done it, you know? He doesn't have much energy. I don't know if that cloak was a misclick or if he realized that he didn't have enough energy to really utilize it. Because you want to cloak and EMP, right? Just cloaking's not really help you. Does he have the EMP? He doesn't have EMP. The cloak actually might have just cost him the EMP. This is so awkward. Oh my god, this is so awkward. Oh my god, this is so awkward. Disruptor does not quite get the hit. So many more Templar are coming through here. But the EMPs, they're a coming, man. They're being built up. He's finally got them again. The mining in this game, by the way, ShowTime down to just 100. He's not mining anymore. He's totally all in. The EMP from behind gets a lot of the High Templar. I got maybe 3 or 4 storms left over. Disruptor gonna shoot its maybe last shot. Not gonna find anything at all. The scan actually reveals the Observer gets that. Goes for the Disruptor, gets that as well. And that storm isn't particularly juicy. I think ShowTime realizes things might be up. He tried so damn hard in this game, but he has lost out to Clem. And I think the only person he would have lost to is Clem. I mean, good God. The last few storms might be coming in here, or maybe not. The EMP hits true, and that is it. GG. Clem takes game 4 in the 3-1 victory. What a series, though. Holy shit. Some of the closest games of StarCraft I've seen. Amazing. Whew.